My name is Sam Keller Jr., and I'm going to be going over a lesson plan from our flag football unit. The grade and the subjects are going to be ninth grade, and the class is going to be an integrated health class. The lesson plan is going to be offensive skills, specifically receiving and catching a football. Our focus of this lesson is students will be able to learn how to properly catch a football, and students will learn how to position their bodies to maximize both safety and catching ability. For this lesson, we are going to be going over 3 different standards: standard 1, 2, and 3. Standard 1 is going to be students are going to be physically able to demonstrate competency in a variety of motor skills and movement patterns. Standard 2 is going to be the ability for kids to apply the knowledge, concepts, and principles and strategies and tactics related to the movement and their performance. And standard 3 is going to be the students are going to be able to demonstrate the knowledge and skills to achieve and maintain a healthy, enhancing level of physical activity and fitness. Our learning objectives of this lesson are going to be: 1, catching techniques, which is going to be hand placement and body position. Then we're going to go through our practice drills. This is going to be where students are going to be able to go through scenarios and apply these skills in short, long, and contested situations. And then we're going to be introducing route running and timing, which is actually pretty fun for some kids. Okay, but we're going to get into what happens before the lesson actually happens. So what I will have to do as a teacher is that I will have to make sure that we have all of the equipment and the supplies needed for us to go through this lesson. Some of the materials that we are going to need are going to be footballs, soft footballs or foam, 4 garbage cans or targets, and then we're going to need 2 tackle dummies or something that is going to help them focus on a contested catch. What I supply for the kids in their Google Classroom is that I supply a video on how to properly catch a football. This is going to be a front-loaded activity where students are going to be able to visually see and also hear an instructor go through the proper mechanics in catching a football before they get to class. So they kind of have a baseline knowledge of what is expected. And then we also are going to send in Google Classroom, we're going to send a route chart. And the route chart is going to explain to them what each route means and what the necessary steps are to successfully run the route that they are trying to do. So when it comes to this lesson, I would make sure that the kids understand what prior knowledge that they should have and when it comes to catching a football. And prior knowledge is going to be being able to pass and catch a ball. We're going to look at they should know how to move their feet and be able to adjust their body weight. And they should be able to run, be able to change direction, and then be able to put their hands up to successfully catch the ball. And students are also, or they should be, accustomed to passing a football, how to grip a football, and then they should be able to understand that there are different running patterns that they have to complete, and they are going to be different variations of speed and when they should cut and then turn into a different direction. So once I front load all of that the night before, students have a chance to review the material, and then once they come to class, they will go into the locker room, they will change their clothes, and then they'll meet me out on the football field. These directions will be posted on the bulletin board right outside of the gymnasium or my office. And then as the students are coming down to the field, they will already see their activities on the field. This has to be done before the school day starts. So once all of the equipment is gathered, all the equipment is then placed outside, and then I put down the different routes 1 through 4, and then the printout that they had in their Google Classroom, this printout will also be provided outside at each station, just so that they can have a quick refresher, or if they needed to review the route that they are supposed to be running at each station, they have that material available to them. So how the class will go, I will come down, I will ask the students to sit down and please listen. I'm going to go through what is expected of them for this day. I will review on how to catch a football from the video, and then after that, we're going to take that should take about 5 minutes. And then for the next 10 minutes, we're going to go through the previous lesson on how to throw a football. So now the students are going to be able to throw and catch. So while the students are warming up in this 10 minutes, students are going to be practicing their previous skills, meaning their hand placement on the ball, stepping, throwing it at their target, and then students are going to be then practicing their hand placement on how they should catch a football. Once students are acclimated to this skill or have they have confidence in this skill, then they go into the next session of the lesson. Now, with this, I separate students into 4 different groups. Sometimes I allow students to select their own groups because this is kind of where students are going to they're going to gravitate towards their friends or people that they are comfortable with in doing these drills. Sometimes I separate them based on last name, numbers, etc., or I randomize it. Then I separate the kids into these 4 stations and I explain to them every single route that they are going to be running. There's going to be 4 different stations. The first station is going to be a 5-yard slant. This 5-yard slant is going to be highlighted on the paper that is outside. That is there a refresher. Station 2 is going to be a 10-yard corner route, again highlighted on the paper at that station. Station 3 is going to be a 10-yard square in. And then the 4th is going to be a go route. So each student is going to take 5 minutes at each station, or each group is going to spend 5 minutes at each station going through the drill. So what they would do is that they will select a quarterback for the first part of their group, where the quarterback will throw to every person in their group for that station, and then they'll switch quarterbacks. So once everybody has a turn on throwing and catching the ball, so each student should be able to run this route about 2, 3, maybe even 4 times, depending on the group size. Then from there, I will blow the whistle, and then I will transition and say, hey, now station 1 is going to go to station 2, station 2 is going to go to station 3, station 3 is going to go to station 4, and then station 4 is then going to go to station 1, and then you are going to practice these routes. Once the kids are starting to get used to the routes, then we kind of have a competition between their teams in their groups. Now, once all students have completed all 4 stations, we'll have normally about 10 or so minutes left in class. And then what I would do is that I'll establish a quote unquote game. This is going to put what they just learned, the skills that they just learned based on the activities that they did, and then they're going to start to compete. They're going to choose a quarterback, they're going to pick their favorite station that they want to do, and then they're going to try to see how many balls can be caught in a group. The group that has the most at their station wins the competition, and normally I reward kids with a piece of candy, or normally it's bragging rights, because they are kids, they're 9th graders. And then at the end of the lesson, I'll say, hey guys, come on in, let's bring it together. And then we're gonna ask questions. And these questions I like to ask because they're open-ended and they have to provide me some type of answer. And the questions are gonna be, hey, 1, were you able to maintain proper catching mechanics for each station? Were you able to compete with your group members? How was each station different, whether it was route running, whether it was passing? Rank each station easiest to hardest and tell me why. Were you able to make self-corrections when you were catching at each station? And then, did you help your peers? If you did, what was the advice that you gave them, right? Because I believe that when students are in smaller groups, they are more comfortable with communicating with each other and providing feedback. If students were unable to complete the task or the skills, I made adjustments according to their abilities. So, and what this means is that if we had a 10-yard pass, I'll have a kid, hey, if you want to move up 3 to 5 yards to complete the pass, go ahead. What this does is that this helps increase their confidence and their ability to think and say, hey, you know what, I can actually do this drill. I can participate. With kids with IEPs or A504s, I make sure that those students understand each station that they're going to and that they're comfortable with it. I normally give them a little bit more time to get comfortable with it, and then after that, they're normally pretty good. I use station teaching during this time because it provides an opportunity for small groups of instruction and strategic student grouping. So it gives them an opportunity to work in these groups and be comfortable with their peers. Station teaching also allows for the exploration of topics and skills that are going to be relevant to the topic. All right, and then station teaching also allows the opportunities for like natural brain breaks for kids to be okay. Now I can rest. I'm not going. Let me relax and not focus on the skill. But when they're having these conversations, I try to make sure that I hear them using the academic language for the skill, meaning like body position, posture, planting, weight distribution, target, anticipation, footwork, route, and then vision. When I hear these students use that terminology, it helps me move forward in the skills and in the lessons to make sure that we understand exactly what is expected of them. So that is my lesson on offensive skills, specifically receiving.